Hello, this is Shannon Kringen in Seattle, and I reconnected with a friend that I hadn't seen in many years today, and we went and saw the movie about the early years of Bob Dylan, American songwriter Bob Dylan. And I loved the movie. I was very inspired. I am very inspired by the movie, and I grew up listening to Tom Petty. My dad raised me on Bob Dylan music, and I raised my dad on Tom Petty music, let's just say. So, Tom Petty and Bob Dylan and uh, poetic songwriters have a big place in my heart and my soul. And I thought this movie was very mesmerizing and hypnotic and beautifully done. And it gave me goosebumps. It made me cry. It affected me in a big emotional way. And I like the way it handles a little bit. It kind of dips your toe into the dark side of being famous in that way. When somebody writes songs that people respond to so strongly and it creates a stir, and then you wonder where the spark of the heart and soul energy comes from. And the scenes of him visiting Woody Guthrie when Woody Guthrie was ill in the hospital were moving and showed the real genuineness of him as an artist, as a writer of folk songs, as an appreciator of classic traditional folk songs. Uh, it has a special place for me because it's technically I was born in 68 and my dad was born in the 40s, and it's kind of like my dad's generation, Bob Dylan, but I was raised with Dylan music, and my dad, a lot of the music, some people my age have parents that like different music than them. I actually had an overlap. The music that I love is similar to the music that my dad loves. My mom actually raised me on some classical and jazz music that she likes. My mom likes really modern jazz and classical and some rock and roll. My mom likes, Pink Floyd and the Rolling Stones and things like that. But she kind of raised me, and my grandparents too had good taste in music. My dad raised me with Dylan and the Byrds and Peter, Paul and Mary and Simon and Garfunkel and Gordon Lightfoot and Joan Baez. And then I was also watching the movie and feeling frustrated about my own insecurity and I was actually really stressed out and crying when I was earlier today. I was feeling really irritable and crying and feeling really stressed out. My mom's significant other passed away on December 21st. So we are still grieving that. That's only been it's now December 26th, 2024. So we're still heavily grieving that. And when somebody passes away, this person was in their 80s and we knew this might happen. And he became ill and then his liver failed and we don't know why. But long story short, he's no longer with us now. So when something like that happens, even if it's an older person and you know that might happen, it still kind of shocks you into, it kind of lights a fire under your derriere. Can I say ass? Kind of lights a fire under your ass. Can I say that on this channel? This is Shannon Kringen, Goddess Kring in Seattle. This is my YouTube channel. And I'm just inspired by the Bob Dylan movie and also inspired by my own grief in witnessing the passing of my mom's 86-year-old significant other of 8 years and listening to well, there's personal things I don't want to talk about, but let's just say that I was grumpy and sad and stressed out, and I'm having certain problems and challenges in my life in terms of trying to figure out where I belong and where I fit in. And it's amazing how actually insecure I am. On the wall behind me, I'll show you, pardon the funk, I used to like to say. That's a poster. Shannon Kringen, artist Shannon Kringen. The black and white photo is a selfie from the Triple Door restaurant. And then there's me underwater in the Bahamas in a swimming pool. Then there's a photo and a painting of mine superimposed on each other. Then there's me with my face paint that I did on, and then some hand painted shoes. So that's me as a trying to be self-confident artist. Um, there's one scene in the movie, the Bob Dylan movie, where he says something about you either have to be ugly or beautiful or like a freak. Um, interesting. And then I think about what's important in life is doing what you love, not whether you're famous or not. But it is magical to think about Dylan and his the way he became successful um in the folk scene in Greenwich Village in 19 the movie is 1961 to about 1965, I think. But they kind of romanticized parts of it. I don't know how it really was, but the scenes with him and Joan Baez, I thought that he did a very good job. The actress who plays Joan Baez and Bob Dylan and Johnny Cash and Pete Seeger all did a really good job with. They learned how to play music as well as they could and sang the songs themselves. And the Joan Baez actress sounded very much like Joan when she spoke, a little different when she sang, but had a similar quality, a similar vulnerable, beautiful vocal quality. And Dylan had like, he did the Bob Dylan-y kind of voice, like the Bob Dylan-y voice, the kind of nasally, breathy voice. I love that voice that Tom Petty and Bob Dylan kind of do this kind of breathy, Dylan-esque moonlight on snow, Dylan-esque romantic glow. That's a part of a poem I wrote. I'm very inspired by the poetry of Bob Dylan and Tom Petty and Jim Morrison and people like that, but and Tori Amos and Beck. Um, So I'm all over the map today, and I was feeling really irritated and really stressed out earlier today, and now this movie inspired me. And my friend Kat, who moved to England, suggested that we go after I said online that I wanted to go. And then recently, two things happened. I was in a place called Issaquah, and I'm never hardly ever, ever, ever there. I get hired to art model there like once or twice a year at the most. And my friend suddenly needed a ride that was there in Issaquah, and he's also never in Issaquah. So that was weird synchronicity that happened recently. And then a friend of my a friend of mine and me carpooled to West Seattle to have coffee, and he was going to have coffee. We were each going to have coffee with two different people, and they wanted to meet us at the same coffee shop, so we decided to carpool. And then we found out that he needed to pick his friend up literally across the street from where I was walking dogs. So that was another unusual coincidence where we were both carpooling and going to have coffee. And then we knew two people that were lived across the street from each other. So it was kind of like it worked out for the universe for me and him to carpool and just for us to do that. And the way my mom and I went to the hospital to visit her boyfriend before he passed away, we did that about 3 times. And that was complicated and weird and stressful. And it all just seemed to fall into place. It all just felt like it was meant to be, even though it was sad and stressful. And now we're in this new reality. And I'm feeling grateful and insecure at the same time. And I'm kind of embarrassed that I keep promoting the music that Dave Flowers and I make. And we're not necessarily getting a lot of attention for our music, although a lot of people have said they wanted a copy of the CD. I haven't gotten a lot of feedback, though. But there's the Kring Flower CD, Goddess Kring music, and poetry that I write. And I'm just inspired by the Bob Dylan movie and thinking about my dad and the way he raised me and my mom raised me, and then learning about when people pass away and the safety deposit box and the will and the wishes of people. And the fact that certain problems that you have when you pass away, they go poof. Of course, your survivor, the surviving members of your family have to figure it out. Like the person that passed away recently at the age of 86, his son and grandson are now doing the legal paperwork stuff that they need to do and navigating through that and trying to find documents and figure out what the wishes of the person that passed away are and were. And then I have to figure that out with each of my parents. And I sometimes think about, I volunteer somewhere in nature and I wish I could just live in a little house next to where I volunteer in nature and just do my art and just kind of settle into some kind of retirement where I make a living in a fun, interesting way and I volunteer in nature and I just do my art. I mean, all I really want to do is my art. And I had the weirdest Christmas ever. I was invited to spend Christmas with a friend of mine and his ex-wife and their son because they're all good friends and they have Christmas slumber party together, which is really cool for the 11-year-old. I'm just not going to say any of these people's names because it's, I don't necessarily think everybody in my life wants to be as public as me. So this is just me, Shannon Nicole Kringen speaking. I thought I was going to say different things in this monologue than I'm actually saying. I was absolutely miserable a couple days ago, but it's nobody's fault but my own. I need to find my own happiness and figure out what to say yes and what to say no to. I sometimes feel like I'm really fake and I make myself do things, or I'm a chameleon. I shouldn't say that I'm fake. I should say that to please other people, I'm a bit of a chameleon. That's one thing I liked about the Bob Dylan movie is it kind of illustrated how rebellious he is. Like before he was successful, he was had the audacity to kind of push his way into the Greenwich Village folk scene and met interesting people and had the guts to get up there and do his thing. And then thankfully he was appreciated. And then as soon as he became successful, it's almost like he rebelled against it. And then he went electric. And then the more people booed him, the more he wanted to just go electric or go acoustic when he feels like it. So it's like, not to compare myself to Bob Dylan because there's only one Bob Dylan on this planet, just like there's only one Shannon Kringen on this planet. Every single person is unique. So I'm trying to figure out how to navigate. How do I have higher self-esteem? I'm a really insecure person and it's really, really frustrating. I mean, I have the guts to speak into the camera the way that I am right now, and I hope the mic's picking up my voice because I'm go like this, really close to the mic, and I just feel like being farther away from the mic right now. I'm just so insecure, and I feel really angry and sad and scared in some ways. And yet, I just want to rest and just be grateful. And I'm taking care of two cats right now for somebody, and I have a meeting with somebody tomorrow that's very important about my future, my long-term future. I think it's time for me to just wrap things up here. And let's just say I'm really inspired by the Bob Dylan movie and the interesting personality that he had. From an artistic standpoint, I appreciate the music and the lighting and the camera angles and the acting and the craft of the movie. A Complete Unknown is the name of the movie. And I saw it today with my friend who moved to England, and it all just kind of fell into place. We saw the bargain matinee, and that's all for now. I'm going to take care of some kitties. I'm probably going to watch an old Humphrey Bogart movie. I love those old black and white movies with Fred Astaire and Bing Crosby and Humphrey Bogart and Betty Davis and Katharine Hepburn and all those beautiful old black and white movies. I love watching those movies. I'm inspired by those movies. I'm trying to just slow down and be grateful. My dad wrote a song called Slow Down. Slow down, you're bound to break this heart of mine. Slow down, okay, well, I forgot the words, but my dad wrote a song called Slow Down. You can listen to it on the Kring Flower CD if you want. Gus Kringen wrote that song, Slow Down. Um, let's just say that I'm grateful and I have an opportunity to reconnect with my mom in a different way because she's going through the grief and she invited me to come and do collaborate with her in her art studio. Maybe I should take her up on that. It's just a couple hours away from here. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to feel like my own path is my own authentic path. I need to clean and organize my space and figure out what my priorities are, resolving things with different friends and family. I just feel like being really vague right now. I'm taking an acting class, a voice class, starting in Thursday, Thursday nights in January. I can't remember when it starts, but it's a voice class about relaxing your voice and finding your real natural voice and learning how to use it effectively with confidence. Whether you're a singer or an actor or a public speaker or just a regular human, communicating more effectively. So, thank you to all the filmmakers in the world and the actors and the writers. And may I figure out what to do with my talent and my insecurity mixed with my confidence. I'm kind of a little bit introverted and a little bit extroverted, and I'm a little bit insecure and I'm a little bit confident. I don't know. I'm just one day at a time. I have a lot to learn, and I'm grateful and yet frustrated at the same time. Everything seems to be multifaceted and complicated right now. That's what I'll say. I'm trying to publish my next book. That's the Kring Flower Song Lyric book. And I'm having trouble with the website. It's not letting me see a preview of the book. I might have to just delete it and start over. But I have a PDF file of the book. It's not finished yet, though. So maybe it just doesn't have enough pages, but I'm not able to preview it. I'm trying to learn how to edit music video. I want to make music videos of Dave Flowers and I music. And I want to make a Goddess Kring documentary about my public access show. I'm afraid I'll never do it. And, some people will say, well, either do a good job or don't do it at all. But I feel like I would rather do a movie that sucks than not do a movie at all. But it's probably better to not do it if it's going to suck. That's what I feel about my public access show. Like, I feel like some episodes actually did suck, but I was on TV for 15 years every week, and some of it sucked and some of it was great. I still have all the copies. I have like 500 or 600 episodes of Goddess Kring, and I could go through them. I've digitized a bunch of my friend and I have digitized, thanks to him. We learned how to digitize. So there's a whole bunch of Goddess Kring episodes digitized. If I can just go through them, it's just hard to watch some of them when I was feeling like leaving the planet and I was very like mentally upset and going through anger and depression and anxiety. I still have a lot of anger, depression, anxiety challenges now that I know that I'm on the autism spectrum, ADHD and OCD and dyslexic and autistic, blah, blah, blah. But then again, I'm not a victim. I'm a strong, powerful person and I know how to take care of myself. But then again, I'm kind of vulnerable. That's what I was going to say about the person that passed away in the hospital recently. He was very brave and he said, "Let me die. I want to die." Because he was, fatally ill. His liver was failing and he had a serious illness and he wanted to leave. And he told the nurses this, and we were in the process of getting paperwork done for him to have his wishes, what he wanted. But we never had to do that because it's personal. But he told the nurses, certain things, and then they stopped interfering. They stopped intervening. And then he was, dehydrated and stuff like that. So he passed away from natural causes, quicker than we even thought was going to happen. But we kind of knew that was going to happen. But it makes me realize how brave and strong he was and how he asked for what he wanted and he was determined and he was a very strong, very masculine person. And it makes me think, okay, what's the equivalent for me? What do I want? how do I want to say yes and no to things in my life? And, everybody has an ending in their life. And whenever that happens, it's good if we have legal documents saying what we want, so that our family and loved ones or whoever our next of kin is, legal guardian, whatever, can tell medical people what our wishes are. So it's good to have those things in order. It's a little overwhelming being alive sometimes, and I feel like I need more rest right now. I've had some not very good nights of sleep lately, so I'm really looking forward to getting a lot of rest tonight and getting more walks in nature, grounding with the earth, eating healthy and getting a proper amount of exercise out in nature and natural light, volunteering in nature, feeling inspired by that movie. I also love the documentary about Val Kilmer that Val Kilmer made about his own life. Inspired by that. And of course, the Bob Dylan is not a documentary. It's a recreation of his early years told by actors. So they learned how to sing and play the music, these actors, the main actors, and beautifully done. So it felt as authentic as they could make it. So okay, I'm tired. I need to rest. So thank you for listening. This is Shannon Kringen, Goddess Kringen, Seattle. Feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. This is my monologue, and I also do music and poetry and visual art. And I paint shoes. I hand paint shoes. Uh, yeah. Bye for now. Have a good evening. Yeah. Follow your heart, follow your dreams, do what you love, whatever that is. That's my advice to everyone. Do what you love and learn as you go. Bye for now.